You must understand, at the time, we knew very little about cases like this.
Cases like what?
Your mother brought Frances to me. A bike accident. Frances came back to see me 3 weeks later. On her own. But I wasn't home. I did nothing.
What was it about the book and the film that you liked, this character?
She's very different to me, but after watching the film a few times, I think there's an emotional depth that's similar, but in the way that she deals with herself emotionally is the opposite of me. I'm half Italian and I'm very expressive and I tend to let everything out and I don't like to brush things under the carpet. Whereas Elise, because of her circumstance, sits on top of everything and so everything's just stuck in her throat and she doesn't... she spends a lot of time avoiding anything that's going to make her go to those feelings or those places. So I just found that fascinating. I'm really interested in psychology and people and why we do what we do and how your experiences affect the person that you become. So I found it really sad that she spent all of that time carrying all of those traumas when, you know, if she had have worked it through. But she does eventually. She eventually gets there. I think when she falls in love with Martin, if you're going to let somebody else in, you have to open yourself up, and in doing that, I think her past starts coming up to haunt her, and in doing that, she's able to kind of get on and have a normal life, which is great. So I like the story.
Did they film the kids before you or you before the kids?
I was watching Tian and learning from her on screen, and I mean, children are so great because they're so unaffected. I mean, I got upstaged by an 11-year-old, but I just think it's wonderful to watch a kid like that who's never done it before, and I know James worked very closely with her, but just her ability to observe, and I could read her thoughts. I mean, you could really sense on screen when she was scared, worried, when her mother was having a breakdown. I mean, it's all these grown-up situations, which really added to when I would come on screen, because the innocence of younger Elise is what really helped my scenes be more believable, I think, and show that innocence. So, yeah, she was my teacher as well.
Please? Can't we talk?
Pass me my scissors.
Not until you talk to me.
Deborah, once again, was another teacher of mine. It was difficult for us to bond because she was playing so cold to my character. I think she's so damaged, that woman. I mean, the husband dying, the husband that didn't really love her anyway, the whole suggestion of what went down with the father and Frances, the older sister, then losing her child, going missing. I mean, that woman's just completely, it's like she popped her lid and she's stuck in shock, really. And I did some research, actually, with a grief counsellor who was a friend of Rosemary's, one of the producers, and apparently it's quite common when a child goes missing that the parents can be horrible to the sibling that's left behind. And I think that's really what happened. She takes it out on Elise. So, I mean, it would have been so hard for her to play that. I mean, there were times where she got really emotional and had to stop because it's just such an unnatural way of being, the way she had to be to Elise. It was harder for her than me because I was the vulnerable one and I was the one looking to her to be mothered. So I think we had to kind of keep our distance a little bit during filming, and then were able to bond afterwards.